Hi friends, and you are watching Cricket with Raghuram. Today, India played their second ODI against Australia back in Sydney once again. So it was the audience section, and there was a very pleasing scene, like an Indian fan proposing an Australian girl, and she accepting that, and everybody around cheering for the couple. It was a fantastic scene to see there. And in this environment of Indo-Australian love, just few tiers below, in the Sydney cricket ground, the match was played between India and Australia. The result was no much difference in comparison to the previous match. Australia scored 15 runs more than what they did the last time. In the first ODI, they had scored 374, and this time they made 389, which was a step more than the previous match, and they gave the target of 390 runs for India to win. Last time we saw that India struggled to make to chase that mammoth score of 374 runs and faltering by 66 runs. This time it was no difference. India lost this match by 51 runs, chasing a mammoth 390. There was no much difference in the scenarios between the first match and the second match. It was looking like the extension of the first match, like it was looking like season 2 of the first match, with almost similar events happening in the ground, but with little difference in script. Australia batted first this time also. They put on a big score, and there were really brilliant innings, a few brilliant innings from the Australian camp. This was only the second instance where the top 5 batsmen of any team scoring 50s. Aaron Finch made a good 60, Labuchagne made a good 70, David Warner made a useful contribution with 83, carrying his form from the previous match. This time even Warner looked good to make 100. And what a finish by Maxwell. Maxwell scored 63 runs very quickly in 29 balls, and that almost took away the match from India. It was like salting the wound. And the fifth 50 was not a 50. It was actually converted into a good 100 by Mr. Smith. Wow, what an innings by Smith. And I felt Smith's innings and Maxwell's finish really made a difference between India and Australia. Those two innings, in spite of the other 350s and good all-round contribution by Maxwell and a useful spell by Henricus later, it was Smith's innings and Maxwell's innings which really made a difference. It was hurting for India. Smith yet again scored a century. After his century from the first match, it was just like a copy paste. It was just like a copied version of the first match. There he happened to reach his 100 in 62 balls. Even in this match, he made a century in 62 balls only, where he was looking good to make it even earlier, just before he got out for 104 2 balls later. Had Smith stayed longer, India would have even faced 20-30 more runs added to the target, maybe a 400 plus or 410 plus. I'm seriously getting a doubt, how do Indian bowlers get rid of Steve Smith? So he has to do some mistake. He has to do some mistake to get out. And Coming to the Indian bowling, it was as pathetic as it was in the previous match. There was no intent, there was no content, there was no aggression. No bowler was looking like taking the wickets. No, at least Shami looked good in the previous match. This time even he was taken for runs. Spinners were of no use. They were just bowling like they need to finish off those overs, and as if they were waiting for things to happen. If you don't have a bowling strategy against the Australian batsmen in these pitches, definitely you are going to lose the way. This is no strong bowling attack by India. India has a partial strength in their batting, and that they're showing, but by the time India comes to bat, they will have a mammoth total on the board, and it makes things really, really difficult to pluck a win from the jaws of defeat. The bowlers, this has been a terrible story since many years, since many decades. The Indian bowlers lack that aggression of bowling in an attacking way, or getting the wickets, or containing the runs. Somewhere the combination, the composition of the bowlers, the chemistry is missing somewhere. When the bowlers bowl so horribly, it definitely creates a negative impact on the batsman, because the runs are piling up. Already in the field we can see the batsmen in nervous movements. You can see the similar scenario of bowlers bowling short balls, Australian batsmen smacking them all through the grounds, 4s, 6s hit at will, boundaries could not be contained, sloppy fielding here and there, and probably they are looking at the X factor or the luck factor to work in their way for the things to happen. That's not a good scenario as well. So it was similar scenes with Captain Virat Kohli also, like he was performing a Viratasana in the middle of the ground. Every time a bowler gets hit for a 4 or a 6, every time a bowler gives 15 or 20 runs in an over. So those strange expressions on the face of having to do nothing and for not being able to do anything, the helpless scenario is clearly seen on the captain's face. So Virat Kohli is seen standing with his hands on the hips and giving some furious looks, some helpless looks. Nothing is going to happen, nothing is going to work out that way. The bowlers have to do their job, the line length, the instinct to get the wickets. India has to bounce back because they have a pretty long Australian tour. This is not the end of it. And India needed the services of Mayank Agarwal bowling 1 over, and Hardik Pandya, at least he looked good with the ball. The Indian team and the Indian think tank are protecting Hardik Pandya. The all-rounder Hardik Pandya has been converted into a batting Hardik Pandya. It's good for India if he can focus on one of his strengths, but he is also an all-rounder, we need to remember. Since he is injury prone, his performance or his role has been curtailed by half, making him a full-time batsman rather than a bowler, rather than an all-rounder. But today we could see him bowling a tiddy spell of 4 overs where he managed to get one crucial wicket, and that wicket of Steve Smith. Other than that, there is nothing to tell about the bowling story. Coming to the batting, Mayank Agarwal and Shikhar Dhawan gave a promising start at again, just like the previous match. The match was looking promising with 50 runs coming very quickly on the board. And there were some useful contributions like from Shreyas Iyer. Actually, the big innings and the big partnership came between Captain Virat Kohli. Today I was expecting, as I said in the last video, I was expecting Virat Kohli to come up with a big 100 in this match. He really bounced back well after those moments of hesitancy in the beginning. So he fit into his role properly. He started seeing the ball well, hitting it well, smacking the bowlers all around, and kept the match busy. Along with when KL Rahul joined him, Rahul also was amongst the runs. He started slowly, but then he started making the big calls and the big shots. Virat Kohli getting 89 runs and KL Rahul getting 76 runs was really promising to see. But once Kohli was out of the equation, once Rahul was out of the equation, when things really mattered, Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja, they tried, but the required run rate was mounting, the pressure was mounting, and the bowlers were bowling tight around the Indian batsmen, and it was too much to ask from them. So from 41st over onwards, the intent of winning the match looks reduced, and it looked as if Indian batsmen were looking to play those 50 overs and cover up as many runs as possible rather than trying to win a match which is out of equation. It was looking like Indians were practicing to chase 400 plus runs in the third match against Australia. The finishing instincts, the killer instincts, and then intent to win was somewhere lost after 35-40 overs. So surprisingly, even though Australian bowlers were not too good, they were taken for runs by Indian batsmen, the surprise package came in the form of Henricus and Maxwell, who combinedly covered that role of the fifth bowler, and that was a surprise package. That was alarming for Indians. Indian batsmen could not score off Henricus and Maxwell as their overs were really tidy. In between this, a silent record passed away with Virat Kohli completing his 22,000 international runs, and it was not a moment to rejoice, or it was not a moment for which called for a celebration. The moral of the story is India lost the match by 51 runs, and yes, India has lost the series. Now Australia is leading the series 2-0, much deservedly. They were good in all the departments in compared to the Indian team. So I congratulate Team Australia for winning the series and keeping the lead 2-0. And in the next match, India has to fight for their pride. They have to. I hope that India will set right the equations, will come up with more positive mindset, and try to win that match. Thank you for watching the video. If you like this video, like it, share it, and put your comments below. If you are not subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe the channel and hit that bell icon, press all, so that you keep getting the notification as and when I publish the videos. I will catch up with you all with more interesting cricket stories in my next episode. Until then, goodbye. Namaste.